Nubreed, Global Truth. What's good, everybody? It's your brother Nubreed coming through with another live stream. Welcome to Nubreed Global Truth, where you're going to get the straight truth. I see brothers and sisters rolling in. Golden N is in the building. Laugh Out Loud TV. KC Moto, what's happening, bro? Son of Light. Roland Curtis. I see Who's That Girl in the building. Deep Soulful Sounds is in the house. Hope everybody is elevating and radiating on a high frequency. Takeem Hilton's in the building. Solomon Johnson. Crown One Glory. Hello. Walker V. TJ. Real Sure. Somebody said my mic is quite loud. Is it too loud, brothers and sisters? Is it too loud? Am I coming through clear? What's good? One in the chat if y'all can hear me clearly. All right, we good. Hanging with Quentin's in the building. Lloyd Matthews is in the house. All right, we're very clear. Good, good, good. Ladies and gentlemen, the race war is here. I've been talking about this within the last couple weeks. And it seems that everything is coming to fruition. And it's a crowdfunded race war. Yeah. They're raising money to start this race war. And I don't believe anything is happening by chance. You know, I believe that the so-called powers that be, the puppet masters, are extremely calculated when it comes to this war that is on the horizon. And when I'm looking at this, you can see the planning that's coming along with it. And I don't know if you all caught wind of this story here, but we have white supremacists help raise hundreds of thousands for women who hurl slurs at a black child. Over the last week, white supremacists, anti-Semites, and racists have been supporting a woman accused of calling a black child a racial slur by helping to coordinate her donation drive by raising hundreds of thousands of dollars. They have leveraged the fundraising campaign to spread hateful talking points and legitimize their ideas. The woman, identified in media reports as Shiloh Hendricks, was depicted in a video that began circulating on social media on April 28th, 2025, allegedly accosting a black 5-year-old at a playground in Rochester, Minnesota. In the video, the man recording asked the woman if she called the child an N-word, and she responded by hurling the slurs at the man recording as well. On May 1st, 2025, a crowdfunding campaign was created on Give, Send, Go, a prominent facilitator of extremist crowdfunding, to raise funds for Hendricks. Wow, 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 wow. You know, first and foremost, where is all the raccoons to speak about this crowdfunding going on? Where's all the traitors of their own people? Where are they at talking about all the money that's being raised to fund a race war? These people are fighting for the rights to hurl obscenities and racial slurs at us publicly. This is what they're fundraising for. To be able to have the liberty to target our people with racial slurs and bigotry. And they have raised hundreds and thousands of dollars. Now, This is what's going on, whether we like to, accept it or not. The race war is coming. They have put certain things in place to get prepared for it. Matter of fact, there's something that I have in the queue here, but I'm gonna complete this article because, ladies and gentlemen, these people are just they're so giddy. They're so giddy. They're waiting to just be able to come out and hurl all kind of names at our people. That mean they want to do this so bad. They're chopping at the bit to be overtly racist, right? They're putting their money towards it because they ready to pop off. That's what it looks like, right? Now, it goes on to say, the Give, Send, Go campaign. Well, let me go up some. It reads, although several ex-users known to promote extremist and anti-black rhetoric have since claimed shared responsibility for coordinating the effort, they assert that Hendricks will be the primary recipient of the funds. And the Give, Send, Go campaign page indicates this is the case. The Give, Send, Go campaign immediately went viral on X, and the link to the page was mentioned over 25,000 times in the day. That followed the circulation of the video. As of the writing, the campaign has received over 700,000 of their $1 million goal from over 26,500 donors, with many of the donations commented containing white supremacist, racist, and anti-Semitic messaging, names, and denominations. Wow, wow, wow. Wow. Now, the irony of all of this is they allowed this to stay up, and this Shiloh Hendricks was awarded all the funds. Predominantly all the funds went to her. So this is beginning to look like a Klan rally. I mean, is this not racism? But then you have the raccoons and the tethers. They'll jump up and speak about, a straight A student who defended himself, and their family starting to GoFundMe. And GoFundMe shuts down, just like GoFundMe shut down for, the last, what is his name? Rodney Hinton, And by the way, the Rodney Hinton situation, it goes a little something like this. Rodney Hinton was temporarily insane. Simple as that. It's temporary insanity. I mean, it is what it is. Is that not a law? He witnessed body cam footage of police, unlawfully killing his son, and he reacted. He took out the first cop he seen, right? We don't support that behavior. We don't cheer that behavior on, but it's temporary insanity. It's a message to the nation that you don't know who you're dealing with when you cross somebody's child, when you take somebody's child out. You don't know what the consequences and the repercussions can be. The officer that died was the wrong officer. He got the wrong officer. He got the first one he can find, right? And it's unfortunate that officer lost his life, but the officer was a casualty of war. We are in a race war. He was a casualty of war, just like Ryan Hinton was a casualty of war, because the young man did not have a visible gun that we seen. He was running, his back was turned, he was taken out, and it is what it is. Yes, he was in the wrong because he was in the act of committing a crime. I can acknowledge that. But lethal force was not warranted or merited. So therefore, he was taken out unlawfully. The footage was seen by the family. Rodney Hinton was temporarily insane, and he did what he did, temporary insanity. And a criminal prosecution, a defense by the accused that he or she was briefly insane at the moment the crime was committed and therefore was incapable of knowing the nature of his or her alleged criminal acts. Temporary insanity is claimed as a defense whether or not the accused is mentally stable at the time of trial. It says, so, it is what it is. I mean, it is what it is. I know that the white supremacists don't like that, but if the shoe was on the other foot, and a white man did the exact same thing, he would be pleading temporary insanity and he would get off with temporary insanity. So if we're gonna hold them to the same standards as us, or hold us to the same standards as them, then by law, it is what it is. It's temporary insanity. Right? Right. Yeah, we are definitely in a race war, no doubt about that. Matter of fact, let me do this person a favor right here. There we go. Oh man, don't you love it? Anyway, now, of course we're in a race war. I mean, they're funding the war. In any war, you need what, ladies and gentlemen? You need funding. You need funding. And, the irony of the situation is the GoFundMe for Carmelo Anthony was interrupted. They all of a sudden made new rules and new laws and put new things in place for Carmelo, saying, look, you can't raise money for him. And so in retaliation, what did the white supremacists do? In retaliation, they went ahead and started a Give, Send, Go, and they raised over $700,000. What do you think they're raising that money for? So when you talk about wars need funding. Now, I believe personally the whole government is behind all of it. I believe the government is behind it. I believe that under this administration, they want a race war. I'm going to share something real quick. Y'all give me a moment. Forgot to put this in the queue, but I'm going to play something that a pastor actually he's not a pastor. He's more like someone who observes politics, but he was doing a speech, and this was 8 years ago, right? And I want to play what he had to say. I'll just go ahead and play the audio because this is exactly what's happening right now. Let's go.
They will turn on their next victims, Muslims, African Americans, Asians, dissidents. This militarization of society is designed to carry out the race war that Trump and those around him see as inevitable at home and abroad. In poor communities of color, this race war has already begun. Racial profiling, random police stops, raids at homes and businesses, people of color pulled from vehicles at checkpoints, seizures of individuals with no criminal records or who never committed a serious crime, imprisonment without trial, expedited deportation hearings and removal proceedings that violate the most basic human rights.
And that's exactly what's been going on. So the racial tension is reaching a new level within the country. And under this administration, they find it to be inevitable that a race war happens because they believe in order out of chaos. They believe in divide and conquer. Make no mistake about that. The heat has been turned up. Now, the social media influencers are also exposing themselves. No doubt about that. We got to talk about this Piers Morgan interview. We're going to go there. Now, I want everybody to get the likes up on the video. Get the likes up on the video. Now, somebody said it's all white people's fault. Well, it is the powers that be that are puppet masters pulling the strings. I want you to really understand that the shadow governments stand the most to gain. A land divided is a land easier to control. And what I'm doing is just pointing out the obvious here. What's taking place? I'm pointing out some of the double standards, and I'm pointing out the thought processes of the people as a whole, right? Let's go.
The way things are going, you're going to make a millionaire out of a woman who racially abused a child.
Did you call the child word? It is my own business. You call him a
what you're advocating for, it seems.
They're going to make her a millionaire for a reason, because this is really what America's really about. America really is racist. They really hate our people. Right? Let's go.
Is that for the rest of Shiloh's life, she should be canceled and silenced rather than try to bring some redemption into the situation.
If you call black people the N-word and racially abuse them, unfortunately, yes, it has consequences.
Everyone's flipping out over Shiloh Hendricks is saying the N-word. Nobody flipped out like this when the United States was getting destroyed in 2020 because of black protests destroying every liberal city in America. So I don't want to hear it about, oh, she made $500,000 because she said the N-word. Who cares?
I want to live in a country.
So, and the irony of all of that is the same people was going against Carmelo Anthony, a straight A student who was a young man just protecting himself. But these same individuals are rearing their horns and showing you just how much hatred they actually have for foundational Black Americans, right? And I don't know if the young man she cussed out and threw slurs at was foundational or not. But the bottom line is there's a double standard here. They don't mind money being raised for a bigot and a racist. So, I mean, it should be simple to see what's going on. Let's go.
Where people are allowed to say what they want unashamedly, and you will.
Well, go
not
on then,
have
say it. Say the N-word. Go on.
No. I don't want you to invite this woman to say a racially harmful term in front of me. So if she says it, I'm the victim of it.
Two recent stories in the US have laid bare the shocking levels of racial division in American society, amplified by extreme and viral takes on social media.
Right. And let's be clear. The young man wasn't a foundational Black American, but you know what? That doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Because if somebody was hurling racial obscenities at a young white child, right? Calling them all kind of racist names, right? How would white people feel if that person had 700,000 raised for him? Right? Anyway, let's continue.
17-year-old Carmelo Anthony is a Black teenager charged with stabbing a white boy to death at a school track meeting in April. More than $600,000 in donations have poured in, not for the victim's grieving family, but for his alleged killer. Last week, Shiloh Hendricks went viral after a video showed the young mother racially abusing a 5-year-old, allegedly for stealing from her young child.
call him a child?
You
Did you call the child word?
business.
It is my own business. You call him a Okay, why don't you have the boss to say it right now again?
Fuck you.
Okay. All right, that's what you say.
You go digging through people's shit, you dumb fuck.
Nobody dig into your shit.
A little fucking kid just did, you dumbass.
That little kid, you call him the little child?
What if he acts like one is gonna
Are you about to hit him? You chase him here?
He took my son's stuff.
So that gives you the right to call the child 5-year-old.
Well, as you can see.
And so, I would like to know where all the raccoons, the race traders, the individuals who are against their own, why are they not speaking on this? The fact that there's this fundraiser going on where this woman is nearly a millionaire for hurling racial obscenities, no matter who she's hurling them at. If that was an Indian child, if that was, a Pakistani child, doesn't matter. It was a child, a 5-year-old child, right? Let's go.
See, Hendricks doesn't deny using the slur. In fact, she repeats it many times. That's all the stuff that's bleeped out. When a bystander in the park follows her with his smartphone. Hendricks set up a fundraiser on the same website as Carmelo Anthony's supporters, on which she wrote, "I called the kid out for what he was." Incredibly, that campaign has now raised more money than the first one, surpassing
She doubled down.
$655,000 at the time of taping the show. Well, the boss of the website, Give, Send, Go, is accused of facilitating.
And wow, come to find out, I'm seeing Real 80s OG says the child was autistic. Wow. Now, Joshua Jones says, you're feeding the machine. No, what I'm doing is pointing out what's happening. If this is not your type of video, you can also exit stage left, right? Because what I'm doing is keeping people informed. Let's go.
Brazen racism on a platform whose motto is "Money is temporary, Jesus is eternal." He will join me later. Liberals say this is exactly what they've been warning about, that the post-BLM backlash, the crushing of DEI has provided a fig leaf for outright bigotry. Conservatives were similarly outraged by the support for Carmelo Anthony, an alleged murderer who's been glorified by some as a victim of a racist system. We're here to debate all this as the host of the Fresh and Fit podcast, Myron Gaines, the host of Night School on YouTube, Mark Lamont Hill, Lily Gaddis, a social media commentator whose video defense of the N-word mother has so far been viewed millions of times on X, and the New York Post columnist and author Ricky Schlott. Well, welcome to all of you. Ricky, look, my take on this is a stain on all their houses, right? I just don't know what is happening to society.
Well, I can tell you what's happening to society. A race war is beginning. Anytime you see all this funding going on, for racially fueled agendas, you have a race war. And yes, Myron Gaines is Sudanese, and he hates Black Americans. He's went on so many racist tangents, hurling the N-word, doing monkey noises, doing gorilla noises when referring to Black people. Why is this even allowed? Why? Well, that's part of the reason he got shut down. But guess what? He still has platforms. But let's go.
When you have such vast sums of money being raised for what seems to me to be deliberate, racially charged, motivational reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're fighting ugly with ugly right now. And I think this level of racial tribalism and hostility.
Well, let's be clear. It wasn't ugly when there was money raised for Carmelo Anthony. How was that ugly? This was a straight A student with 2 jobs who defended himself. The money that was raised was to make sure he got out of jail. So how was that ugly? How is if our people find it necessary to crowdfund to help a young man in a situation, and that's the side we take, how is that ugly? How is that against the law? So no, y'all are fighting to keep y'all supremacy. That's the issue. They're fighting to keep supremacy. And when they seen us put our dollars together, the white supremacists said, okay, we're going to put our dollars together to put them N-words back in their place. That's why they stood behind a racist woman hurling the N-word. Because in their minds, the white supremacists are saying these ends got out of place. They got out of line. They defended themselves, and they did what a nation of people is supposed to do. And that's come together and support one of their own. They did not like that. And since they didn't like that, their response is, no, let's show them whose money's longer, and let's put these ends back in their place. That's what happened. But you're not going to hear the race traders and, bigots. They're not going to talk about this. They're not going to talk about the race war that's being funded. They're not going to talk about how America is, having birth pains because they're about to lose their grip on the people. Because the slaves don't want to be slaves anymore. Let's go.
is just simply not sustainable in such a diverse democracy like America. I think it's, one is really a reaction to the other. I think both campaigns are really hideous, and I think we're showing our ugliest colors. I mean, in the scheme of things, these are small sums relative to the population of America, but you do see, I think, a really tremendous explosion of ugliness and racial hostility that I think that we should all be ashamed and embarrassed of.
Yeah,
I agree with that. It's very ugly, but that's coming from their side. Crowdfunding to get Carmelo Anthony a bail is not racism. Nowhere, nothing about that is racist. Hey, Trill Team, thank you for the support. I appreciate it, bro. Somebody said, he says, they going 5-0. Don't start none, won't be nothing. Run up and get done up is law for us. I'm going to have to agree with that. Keep your hands to yourself, follow things accordingly, and it'll be all right. As simple as that. Let's continue.
I mean, you described it, I think, in one of your posts as genuinely, is this a psyop? This would be the best $1 million invested by a foreign adversary to start a race war in America.
And see, Piers Morgan sees it for what it is, too. Piers Morgan said, hey, this has to be a psyop. I called this out weeks ago that there was a race war coming. And now you can see them funding it. They're funding the race war. And we don't know who's actually funding it. There's a hidden hand behind all of this. And I believe that these FundMe sites, these crowdfunding sites, I believe they have an algorithm just like any other platform. And that algorithm can be used to reach the masses. I don't doubt that at all. Because when there's war, you need money. You need money to fight wars. You need money for what? Weapons. You need money for, their campaign. Absolutely. And everybody said, and look, they said I was fear mongering when I said a race war was coming. Is Piers Morgan fear mongering because he's saying that, hey, $1 million is a lot to raise. And it seems like these platforms are crowdfunding a race war. That's exactly what they're doing. They're doing it on both sides. But what they did was they took advantage of a tragedy. They seen that we stuck together for Carmelo. So in order to put us back in line, they went ahead and did their own crowdfunding. Now, the reason I say they're working on both sides is because they're highlighting certain stories in the media. They're highlighting certain stories. Yeah, Pierce confirmed it. But now, the raccoons will believe it. Why? Because a white man confirmed it. But when I said it, only thing they could do is say, try to discredit what I said, just to show you that the raccoons bow before white supremacy. Let's go.
Tremendous explosion of ugliness and racial hostility that I think that we should all be ashamed and embarrassed of.
Yeah, I mean, you described it, I think, in one of your posts as genuinely, is this a psyop? This would be the best $1 million invested by a foreign adversary to start a race war in America. And I knew exactly what you're getting at, because
that's exactly what they're doing, funding a race war in America. Let's go.
Many of the I think the comments have now been suspended actually on both of these funding pages, because people were quite obviously deliberately misusing them to post race baiting commentary.
Yeah, they're using it to post race baiting commentary because they need us going back and forth. Now, I'm going to tell you, brothers and sisters, don't participate in the race war far as on the social media front. All I'm going to tell you is defend yourself when need be. Protect your family and hold it down. But don't feed the beast, because actually feeding the beast would be arguing with these racists, getting on these different sites and on these platforms, going back and forth with these people. That'll be feeding the beast. So don't do that. We children of the Most High. What we're gonna do is we're gonna keep serving our God. But if you cross us, you're gonna have consequences and repercussions. I will leave it at that. If you cross that line, that point of no return, you ain't gonna be able to come back. Right? Let's just put it that way. Anyway, let's go.
Absolutely. I mean, if you go through some of the comments on either of them, you have White Lives Matter on one side, and like suggestions that the teenage boy who was stabbed was somehow like a manifestation of white supremacy, and it seems to be just a fight at a track meet that has nothing to do with racial hostility in the first place. And the poor father of this young man who died too said, please don't make this into a racial issue. And yet on his own Give, Send, Go campaign, there are comments after comment saying this is White Lives Matter, we're avenging against Carmelo Anthony's.
Yeah, but why are the raccoons not talking about that? Why they not talking about the fact that you got all these white supremacists gearing up to fight against Carmelo, a young boy who was defending himself? Why nobody's talking about that? Why are they trying to make it seem as if black people are the worst people in the world? This is war. You got some of our own people trying to make it seem like we're savages and animals. First of all, black folks never put anybody in slavery. You know, second of all, black folks never, been in a position to create systematic racism. We didn't drop nukes on people. Like, what are we even talking about here? No, the issue is they don't want us to wake up and rise up. They want to keep us in a box and keep us in a cage. They don't want us to defend ourselves. And they damn sure don't want us to come together with our finances and our resources.
Family. I mean, on all ends, this is ugly. I think that it's really co-opting the charity and giving community. I mean, I feel bad for the fundraising platforms because I don't think this was the intention originally. But unfortunately, I think that people are really starting to take over good intents and the charity industrial complex to make it into a victim industrial complex. And it's really sad to see.
Well, we're going to have one of the founders of the Give, Send, Go site a little later in the program. But Mark Lamont Hill, you were shaking your head there. I mean, what's your take on this?
There are a couple of things that were said that I think are really interesting and important. One, there is an outside audience of people who are watching all of this and opportunistically using it for their own agendas and projects. You know, I have an investment in believing X, so I'm going to jump in the comments of this GoFundMe, etc. I have an investment in Y. I'm going to do the same thing. But what I don't want to do is compare these two things as if they're opposite sides of the same coin. For me, the intention of the campaign matters. In the case of this woman who is using the N-word, the woman isn't disputing using the N-word. The woman isn't disputing being racist. And the comments that are
no, she doubled down and tripled down,
being left on the site before they were suspended, and the attitudes behind it weren't saying she's being railroaded, she's being misrepresented. They were simply saying, we support racism. And I think that's disgusting, no matter who's doing it. On the other hand, the people who are fundraising for Carmelo Anthony, the argument here isn't, yeah, we did something and we don't care like the other woman. The argument is we're being misrepresented here. We're being railroaded. This was a self-defense claim. This is not an act of violence. This isn't first-degree murder. I'm saying what they're saying. This isn't my argument. They're saying this is a first-degree murder claim that is wrong. This is actually self-defense, and we need the money to make sure that we get a fair trial.
Exactly. And Lamont Hill was actually 100% right on what he just said. That is a fair assessment. You know, and you're right, real 80s OG. These people cooked it out. They cooked our people. Delectable Negro. Look it up. But you got people who want to call us animals and savages. You know what I'm saying? You got these people who are just pretty much race traders. They're looking for their position in this Babylonian society. And they'll sell their souls and they don't care. Right? Let's continue.
I think, and so whether you agree with his argument or not, I think raising money for a fair trial is different than raising money for a racist.
Absolutely. Now look at Myron Gaines. He's trying to figure out an argument for that. You could see it all over his face, but let's continue.
I mean, I think the common theme between the two and this is not to pass any view about it at this stage, although I have strong views about it. I guess the common theme is that both of them say that as a result of all the publicity, they've been doxxed and had all their personal details put everywhere on social media, which is, of course, the modern scourge which gets involved. And that as a result, they've had death threats and they have security issues and they have to move home and so on. I understand that part of the argument. When you're at the center of a firestorm in America and you're not used to public attention, then the levels of intimidation, threats, and so on that can come your way can be extremely intimidating, if not outright dangerous. So it's different really to taking a view about either of the cases to simply say that the commonality is that they both are.
Right. And here's the issue. Nobody was looking for that little white woman who hurled those racial obscenities. She didn't need no security. She didn't need, to hire, extra support. But Carmelo did. Because the moment that situation happened, the racists and the bigots, they came out of nowhere. And they was attacking the family. They were receiving death threats. See, our people, we see what's going on online. We'll see the little white woman hurling racial obscenities, but nobody was looking for her. Nobody was checking for her for real. And so, that's the irony of it. When it comes to this war that's going on, they're not playing fair. They're not playing by any rules. Like, people can say what they want to say about Rodney Hinton, but look, he wasn't playing by any rules after his son was taken. That's what happens in war. There's casualties. Again, in that situation, I'm not applauding his behavior on what he did, but what I am saying is, in a war, there will be casualties. It just is what it is. That's how these things happen. And somebody says, what if that was staged? I don't believe it was staged, but what's happening is the media is taking advantage of good tragedies to further push the racial divide. It's to push a race war. Right? Right. So, now she got to crash out on camera with no accountability. Let's go.
I think have said in defending the amounts that have been raised is, well, we have to defend ourselves, either, as you're putting it, through the courts, but also in his case, the alleged killer, that he has also, I think, had direct threats against him. And in the case of the mother using the M-word in that despicable manner, she has said she's had a lot of threats too.
My quick response to that would just be, let's assume everybody.
She said that she had a lot of threats. From where? Where's her proof? But nonetheless, let's let Lamont Hill respond.
Everybody's telling the truth. Let's assume she's telling the truth, and let's assume he's telling the truth. If he's telling the truth and he was doing self-defense and he's getting harassed and doxxed, and of course we already know lies have been told about his GoFundMe campaign, saying they were spending it on mansions and cars, all the kind of racist tropes. If that's true, he's being mistreated. And I think that's...
Hey, thank you, Hebrew Care, for the support. And y'all make sure y'all support Hebrew Care on NubreedGlobalTruth.com. Support the merchandise over there. Thank y'all.
That's a sort of very easy case to make. When it comes to her, however,
what he's saying is exactly what I was gonna say.
Assume she's also telling the truth, that she used the word.
Let's assume. Oh snap! My bad. Let's assume she's telling the truth about people retaliating. Let's get back to that timestamp. My fault, y'all. I accidentally hit that.
Being left on the site before they were suspended, and the attitude, I have an investment in believing X.
Say that as a result of all the publicity, they've been doxxed and had all their personal details put everywhere on social media, which is, of course, the modern scourge which gets involved. And that as a result, they've had death threats and they have security issues and they have to move home and so on. I understand that part of the argument. When you're at the center of a firestorm in America and you're not used to public attention, then the levels of intimidation, threats, and so on that can come your way can be extremely intimidating, if not outright dangerous. So it's different really to taking a view about either of the cases to simply say that the commonality is that they both, I think, have said in defending the amounts that have been raised is, well, we have to defend ourselves, either, as you're putting it, through the courts, but also in his case, the alleged killer, that he has also, I think, had direct threats against him. And in the case of the mother using the M-word in that despicable manner, she has said she's had a lot of threats too.
My quick response to that would just be, let's assume everybody's telling the truth. Let's assume she's telling the truth, and let's assume he's telling the truth. If he's telling the truth and he was doing self-defense and he's getting harassed and doxxed, and of course we already know lies have been told about his GoFundMe campaign saying they were spending it on mansions and cars, all the kind of racist tropes. If that's true, he's being mistreated, and I think that's a sort of very easy case to make. When it comes to her, however, let's assume she's also telling the truth, that she used the word, she thinks the kid was acting like one. She feels like she has the right to use that word against that small baby because of whatever age-appropriate thing the kid did. If she's telling the truth and she's getting doxxed and harassed, I don't know if I want to reward her behavior with $500,000. I don't think she should be doxxed. I don't think she should be harassed. I think she has been mistreated to the extent that no one should be. You have a right to be racist. You have a right to free speech in this country. But I'm not donating money for it, and I feel
exactly. But there's a race war being funded, and I got a timestamp here. I want to fast forward a little bit, and we're gonna go here. And I got a few timestamps because I realize that this is a long interview. We're not going to hit the whole interview, but there's some timestamps that we definitely have to discuss. It's very pivotal. Let's go.
On X has been viewed 2.5 million times, in which it was entitled "White People Are Finally Fighting Back. Stand with Shiloh Hendricks." What did you mean by that? Tax day has passed, but for millions of Americans.
Now, Piers Morgan is addressing a person, I believe one of the guests, saying that white people are finally fighting back. Man, this is going to get crazy, y'all. Let's get the likes up, share.
That's where the trouble begins. The IRS is now ramping up enforcement for those who missed the April deadline or still owe back taxes. Well, today's sponsor, Tax Network USA, can still help. If your books are a mess, if you're self-employed, or if you're a business owner, Tax Network USA specializes in cleaning up financial chaos and getting you back on track quickly. They say the IRS is applying enforcement pressure at levels they've never and surprise levies before they escalate. Call 1-800-958-1000 or visit tnusa.com/peers. That's tnusa.com/peers.
And that's exactly what's happening. Ray Magoo. That's how they are laundering money to these small white supremacist groups. That's exactly what's happening. And all of that needs to be under investigation. That's why I tell our people all the time, put our resources together. Come together. Anyway, let's continue.
Let Tax Network USA make the...
That's the thing.
Now, he was addressing this lady. It was interrupted, but he was addressing this lady about what she posted about white people finally fighting back.
Here's the thing. White people have been under attack for years. It's been systematic racism. As much as Black people and people of color want to talk about systematic racism in the United States, it's quite the opposite. They get preferential treatment when it comes to getting a job, when it comes to getting into colleges. White people, on the other hand, have been getting attacked relentlessly. Look at 20.
Now, I want y'all to understand the mentality that comes with MAGA, right? Here you have our president claiming that every other country has been robbing us blind. Every other country has been pretty much abusing us and taking advantage of us. So those are the type of people that are under Trump, right? Now, mind you, America's playing victim. America's playing victim right now. We talking about the country that dropped the nuke in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. We talking about the country that's just been bullying, stripping lands of their natural resources. We talking about America is now playing the victim. So there's no wonder why you're going to see everyone who's following MAGA, they're going to play the victim as well. So they can actually reinforce their supremacy. That's really what's happening right now. That's what's happening right now.
2016 and BLM and all the riots. We just had to sit back and watch people burn down our cities and do nothing about it. So the way to fight back against...
Now, BLM, that was Antifa. That was also government funded. BLM didn't have nothing to do with regular black folks. That, you know, the founders of BLM were Marxists. They admitted that they were Marxists. George Soros set them up. They did that on purpose to create more racial divide. And see, this is why, listen, I'm telling you, that was the setup. That was the setup back then when they were doing that. So they can do what they're doing right now. Fund race wars through crowdfunding. Let's continue.
Essentially, this anti-white hatred that's been systemically, ingrained in U.S. society is with white unity. We don't see white unity on
hang
our
on.
side.
Hang on. Sorry, just to be clear, this has got nothing to do with anything you've just said. This is a disgusting racist woman who repeatedly spews the M-word, first at a young child and then at the person taking the video of her, does it with complete impunity, does it numerous times. We are talking about a bona fide, unquestionable racist. And so I don't understand why what you've just said to me bears any relation to white unity or anything that you've just said. She's just a racist. Isn't she? You wouldn't dispute that.
It's not about her. It's not about her. It's about...
Well, it is about her.
It's not about her. She's right about that. It's not about her. She's telling you that it's about fighting the race war. That's what she's telling you. It ain't about her. It's about laundering that 700,000 to these racist militant groups. She's just being used as the forefront. She's just being used as a puppet. Now I'm gonna tell you right now, this video that I'm reacting to, this should be spread all over social media. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all have got to get the likes up. They don't want us to point out the evil of the system, the fact that they're actually funding race wars through crowdfunding. None of the raccoons, none of those people who got these political affiliations, none of these tethers, none of these sellouts are going to talk about this. Let's continue.
Coming together and supporting another white person, and it doesn't matter.
Why would you
coming together to support another white person? That's what. Now listen, guess what? I'm not even mad at the white people. Nubreed, what the hell you mean you're not even mad at the white? Look, they're doing what they're supposed to do. Whether right or wrong, they're going to stand by their own people. That's the missing link that a lot of our people just don't understand. When it comes to war, whether they right or wrong, they don't care. They don't care. They're going to fund their people. Now, I'm not saying that we should do the exact same thing, but what I am saying is if it was a vote and all our people said, you know what, Rodney Hinton, we all stand behind him. Guess what? You're going to fall in line, fall on code or else, because that's what white code is. You're going to stand. Look, you too soft for that. You don't like what happened. Guess what? You're casted away from our people. So it's what our people believe as a whole. As a whole. Now, I'm not saying I agree with what Rodney did, not to keep throwing that up. But again, we're in a race war right now. There's going to be casualties on both sides. That's war. Now, this is crazy right here, man. This is wild.
Isn't she? You wouldn't dispute that.
It's not about her. It's not about her. It's about...
Well, it's about her.
It's about white people coming together and keeping us in our place.
Together and supporting another white person, and it doesn't...
That's it. They're going to support her no matter what.
Why would you want to support a white racist?
Because I want to support free speech, and you cannot have free speech in the.
So now free speech. Now it's about free speech. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is passing laws to get rid of wokeness, critical race theory. Now he's going at the history books, trying to remove our martyrs and our revolutionaries. Meanwhile, they want freedom of speech to be able to call you an N-word. Matter of fact, there's an article. And we're going to go back to this, man. We got to cook, though. We got to cook. Because they want freedom of speech to say whatever the hell they want to say. And I don't think y'all understand that that's what they fighting for. Look, white trad wife whines about free speech after she gets fired for using N-word in TikTok video. A racist white woman got fired from her black-owned job after posting a TikTok video of her using the N-word. And now she's claiming the black social media sleuths who got her fired did her a favor by making her a white right-wing media sweetheart. Even though she only been featured on a few bargain basement podcasts for barely closeted white nationalists and InfoWars, which is basically the Alex Jones media site for incel conspiracy theorists. Now, imagine that. This woman right here, let's just play it.
That's the exception. I'm the rule. Everybody I know who's married right now, they're married to broke-ass niggas.
Now, she worked with black folks and they pretty much canceled her, but she wants the freedom to be able to use the word, right? She wants the freedom to be able to use the word. And listen, I'm going to tell y'all like this. White folks, y'all are free to do whatever you want to do. You can use the word all you want. Just know that there's consequences and repercussions. I mean, look, even if they pass some law, freedom of speech law, where y'all spewing all kind of N-words all over the internet, you can get away with that. But just know if you work with black folks, they're going to see it and you're going to get fired or worse. And just know if you're in the wrong community and that's how you want to pop off with the mouth, just know that there's consequences for your actions. Anyway, let's proceed.
The country,
that's fine. You can support free speech, but you also have to be accountable for what you say. Would you use the N-word out of interest?
Yes.
You would?
Mm-hmm. I do, quite frankly.
She uses it every day. She's like, she loves saying it. Nigga, make her teeth whiter. She loves saying it, man. They all do. Look, they're letting you know what they've been doing the whole time, bro. Y'all heard it. Y'all heard it.
And supporting another white person, and it doesn't matter.
Why would you want to support a white racist?
Because I want to support free speech, and you cannot have free speech in the country.
That's fine. You can support free speech, but you also have to be accountable for what you say. Would you use the N-word out of interest?
Yes.
You would?
Mm-hmm. I do, quite frankly.
You use the N-word quite frequently. Well, why? Other than the fact you're...
Hey, look at Lamar Hill's face. He like, oh, hell no. Hell no. He's like, man, y'all done got me up on this podcast and I got to try to keep a game face through all this, man. She like, yeah, I go get my mocha latte and I'm hurling all kind of N-words out my vehicle on the way to work. Yeah, she's speaking. This is how they talk within their circles. Better believe, Trump and them using it too. When they ain't on camera. Come on, man. We in America, bro. This is what it is. This is how people talk. It's a racist country. Let's go.
You're a despicable racist.
Look, Myron Gaines loves it. He loves it. He's over there mustering courage right now. Let's go.
Are you?
Some would say I am. I guess according to the ADL, I'm a white supremacist. I'm a neo-Nazi.
Yeah, well, if you use the N word repeatedly, you are a racist, and
Lamont, like, yeah, exactly.
Are you?
Sure, I'll embrace that. If that means forwarding, helping white people achieve freedom of speech, real freedom of speech, which, by the way, Shiloh Hendricks is being attacked on all fronts. They're trying to bring legal charges against her. They're trying to get her children taken away. So you were saying Carmelo Anthony, it doesn't matter. That's a different.
Sorry, but just to be
thing.
clear, you just said to me you use the N word regularly. In what context? Right. Do you use it with black people?
Yeah, they're trying to normalize it. They want to be able to get on social media and call us all kind of N-words because guess what? That brings the race war a step closer. And I would not be surprised if Trump legitimizes this, with some behind the scenes backhanded paperwork that's going to allow them to get on social media and just be calling us N's.
Yes, if it's appropriate.
When would it be appropriate to use the N word? When would it be?
And that's right. Are they going to normalize that ass whooping though? Are they going? That's what they want. Me personally, that N word does not affect me. I know that biblically that we would call Niger. It doesn't affect me. It's just that Southern dialect. When they say it, they tried to turn it into something that was, something else, and it holds a lot of weight to some. Me, it doesn't. Y'all gonna have to get more creative to offend me. You know what I'm saying? I got tough skin, and you'll have to create something. You have to make up a new word to really offend me. You know what I'm saying? I might just look at you and laugh if you say that. Like, come on, you couldn't think of nothing else. But at the same time, everybody don't look at it that way. That word has a lot of pain connected to it. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of animosity connected to it. And some people are just going to straight up lash out. But I think that they want that to happen. I believe the powers that be want to see that take place. Let's go.
Be appropriate.
Anytime I feel like it.
Dang.
So you're an unashamed racist.
Correct.
They unapologetic. But you got our own people calling us, our own people will call us racist when we just defend ourselves and when we take our people's side. Look, these people that are funding this race war, they are unapologetically racist. They don't care. And this is the reason why our people would lose in a race war, because we got too many rules and too much morals and ethics. These people don't care. They don't care. Now, of course, I rock with all people. At UP Farms, we built with all nationalities, races, and all of that. And I'm going to say this as well. It was a beautiful thing where you don't have to worry about this type of stuff when you're around people and you get to enjoy everybody's ethnicity, everybody's creed. And you ain't got to worry about feeling animosity or anything like that. Let's continue.
Well, do you understand that makes you a despicable human being?
I guess so. I don't really care. I mean, why are we not talking about Shiloh Hendricks? Why are we talking about?
Well, actually, I think you've moved it on in this debate very quickly to your own racism, which explains why you've supported her in public and why you've got all these views. You see no problem with a woman shrieking the N-word repeatedly because you yourself are a despicable racist, and you've just proudly admitted that with a smug grin on your face, which is pretty horrifying, actually, for most people to have to watch. And shame on you. You're entitled to do it, and I'm entitled to call you despicable.
Well, shame on white people for allowing themselves to be systematically discriminated against in the United States. This is our country. This is a country that...
Yep, she just said it. She feel like this is their country, when in actuality, they came over here and took over this country by conquest. And this is how these people feel. It's theirs. And they're not finna let it go. And, if that means keeping you Negroes in bondage, if that means keeping y'all subservient, then that's what they're gonna do what it takes. They're gonna fund wars. They're gonna launder money to white supremacist groups, And they're going to do it nationally. And they're not going, and listen, ain't nobody going to stop them. Ain't nobody going to say that this is hate speech. Ain't nobody going to shut her social media down. This is Trump's America. Ain't nobody finna stop nothing she's doing. Why? Because you got people who just raised 700,000 with the same mentality. Over 25,000 people with the same mentality, and they're networking and they're tight knit. But when our people come together for anything, you got our own people who want to divide it. They don't want, you got our own people that look like us that don't even want to see us come together. They just want to divide. Yeah, we talking about people who came over here and stole this land saying it's ours. And the reality of the situation, we were already here. We are the North American Indians the Bible speaks of. We are the North American Indians that history speaks of. And we were already here. That's right. Because in case you don't know, they were black. We built the country. And of course, the transatlantic slave trade took place, but there was also people who were already here that look like us. The country actually belonged to us. Let's go.
That should
What do you
be
mean your
majority-
country?
Because I'm white and my
What, there are no
ancestors-
black people in American history? Is that what you're saying? That they've all just landed in America, invading your white country? Is that your position?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, they were brought here technically.
My God,
didn't.
do you understand how dumb you sound?
This is stupid.
They were bought here technically.
This is stupid and racist, and at some point we have to ask ourselves: do we want to reward this kind of disgusting behavior by platforming it?
I don't disagree, Mark. Listen, I didn't know she was going to say that. I don't disagree with you.
No. Yeah. I'm with you. I don't think you knew ahead of time. I'm saying at this moment, someone who's saying it's technically black people brought up. No, technically, Africans were stolen, enslaved, and they built this country. And the idea that you can justify calling a baby the N-word by saying that white people are losing the country is absurd. It's
well, they do feel like they're losing the country because they are losing the country. The Most High is about to take this country from them. That's right. They are losing the country, but I don't want Lamont to get in his emotions here. I know he's speaking truth. I get where he's coming from, but look, this is how they've been thinking. Ain't no need to get in your emotions. Just take a mental note. Take a mental note of that's where we're at. Take that mental note that's where we're at.
Morally bankrupt, and it's honestly besides the point. I mean, all these are just distractions from the fact that she wants to justify dehumanizing and even animalizing a small black child. It's disgusting.
What is it?
Yeah, I never said that.
No, you may as well have done because you're just an unashamed.
That's the implication of
proud
your
racist. Let me bring in Myron Gaines because you've been smirking and laughing. What's funny about any of this?
Well, I mean, I find it interesting that you guys want to virtue signal and, wag the finger and say she's a racist and everything else like this.
No, she admitted she's a racist.
Wow. Man, somebody get this bozo up off here. Virtue signal. I mean, get this lame out of here. Get this weirdo up out of here. He talking about some virtue signaling and he's trying to defend this racist woman who already admitted that she's racist. She said she's a proud racist. Hey, let's go.
Racist. Well, let me
I'm not wagging a finger at anybody.
I don't need to
but Myron, with respect, Myron, I don't need to wag a finger when somebody says, yeah, I'm racist. I use the N-word against black people. I don't care. That's a racist. I'm not wagging any finger. I'm not accusing anybody. She is admitting it proudly. Even you can't defend that, surely.
Everybody is racist to some degree. The reality is it depends on a lot of people.
That's not true.
People want to be politically correct. A lot of people want to sit there and say, I'm not racist at all. We all have biases. We all have stereotypes. We all make
bias and stereotypes is not racism. Racism is when you can systematically oppress someone. Racism is when you can actually put forth action to oppress someone. That's racism. And this is what I talk about when I talk about raccoons. Having biases is not racist. Anyway, let's continue.
Jokes. We all are racist to some degree. Now, how racist you are is a whole other situation, but everyone is racist. That's number one. Next thing I want to say. See, I think this Shiloh Hendrickson Metcalf situation is a microcosm of a much bigger problem. And that bigger problem is what I call systemic organization. And what I mean by this is for decades, we've had Black people literally running around with Black supremacy, committing crimes, not getting accountability.
What the hell is Black supremacy? Are you kidding me? Black supremacy? My bad, I hit the wrong button there. But thank you for the support, Trill. Appreciate it. Says, this is their country. They murk, stole, and destroyed fair and square, I reckon. The judgment is all theirs, too. Come out from among them. Exactly. Oh, it's theirs, just temporarily. It's just temporary. This is wild.
Ability for their actions, and then they blame the system for it. For example, George Floyd, criminal. Ferguson, criminals. Freddie Gray, criminal. A lot of these people are criminals, and what ends up happening is they challenge the police officer.
Donald Trump, criminal. Respectfully, y'all's president is a felon. So, like, you know, the double standards. This is what I'm talking about. Let's go.
Get into a physical altercation. Things go left. They die. Something happens. Use of force is utilized. And then they want to cry about the result. When in reality, it's not the police killing Black people. It's Black people killing Black people. And if you want to talk about Black on white violence, Black people kill white people 2 times as much. And on top of that, most of the shootings in America, a lot of the times, are white cops killing other unarmed white men. So this whole systemic racism or police brutality or, oh, it's all so messed up. The reality is this.
You know, where do they draw these bogus statistics? I mean, Kyle Rittenhouse, criminal. It's like they be drawing these bogus statistics to sound intelligent. And I'm telling you, it's bogus. The data is wrong. Anything to defend white massa. I'm telling you. Yeah, this dude is a true goofy. True goofy. I mean, this is a lame. I can't even believe that this guy got into the position he got in. This is insane.
Black people have been able to get away with a ridiculous amount of privilege in America for a very long time. They're able to be racist with impunity. They're able to call white people crackers without being challenged back. And
who be running around just calling white people crackers? I mean, this ain't 1970, fool. Oh, cracker ass cracker. You don't hear nobody walking around saying that, bruh. This ain't a blaxploitation film. Like, how far behind the damn times is this dude? Nobody says that. Nobody does it. Yeah, he's just talking, man. Let's go.
Quite frankly, white America's had enough of it, and the chickens have come to roost. Now, look, am I saying that's awesome? Am I saying that's great? No, but for literally the better part of almost 2 decades since the Obama era, we've had to have BLM and liberalism shoved down our throats, and quite frankly, we're all tired of it.
Shoved down y'all throats by who? Because people, listen, everyday Black Americans, everyday citizens, we didn't stand behind Black Lives Matter. You know, a great deal of our women did because they thought that it was something good. But we didn't, listen, we didn't vouch for Black Lives Matter. We know that was funded by George Soros. We know that was a Marxist group. When Black Lives Matters first started, I was one of the first people on the internet saying, look, that I'm not finna follow them.
Right, but just to be clear, you would have no problem with one member of this panel openly saying she uses the N-word at black people.
Yeah, Black Lives Matter was a letter coalition group founded by two lesbians who were Marxists, admitted Marxists. They have nothing to do. It was a complete psyop. And I see how they keep using Black Lives Matter as a trigger. And we know Antifa was the ones rioting. We know that they set that up. Man, I'm telling you, bro, these people are crafty. These devils are crafty. You can't blame black folks as a whole. We wasn't standing behind that. What about the agents and Antifa that y'all hired to go burning buildings down? That was really an attack on blacks. They was taking out our small businesses and everything. Let me see what timestamp we on right now. I got another timestamp for y'all, right? I got another timestamp for y'all. Here we go.
We've been joined now by Jacob Wells. He's the Christian founder of the Give, Send, Go donation site that both campaigns have been hosted on. Thank you very much indeed for joining me, Mr. Wells.
So he works at Gifts and Go. So let's explain to us why y'all fundraising for a white supremacist group, allegedly. Explain it.
First of all, your reaction to what seems to me to be a blatant hijacking of both of these fundraising host sites for different reasons, but definitely been...
Exactly. Black Lives Matter, they had the pallet of bricks just sitting there. I mean, it was completely organized. A lot of people forget about what Black Lives Matter was really about. Hold on, let me go back a little bit further to Myron Gaines because I'm going to let him finish. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying, skip over everything, y'all. Myron Gaines, you know, this dude is a lame, but we going to let him finish saying what he's saying about black privilege, and then we're going to move forward.
To wag a finger when somebody says, yeah, I'm racist, I use the N-word against black people, I don't care. That's a racist. I'm not wagging any finger. I'm not accusing anybody.
The reality is this. Black people have been able to get away with a ridiculous amount of privilege in America for a very long time. They're able to be racist with impunity. They're able to call white people crackers without being challenged back. And quite frankly, white America's had enough of it, and the chickens have come to roost. Now, look, am I saying that's awesome? Am I saying that's great? No, but for literally the better part of almost 2 decades since the Obama era, we've had to have BLM and liberalism shoved down our throats, and quite frankly, we're all tired of it.
Right, but just to be clear, you would have no problem with one member of this panel openly saying she uses the N-word at black people with impunity and is proud of being a racist. You have no problem with that?
My worldview on the protection of the First Amendment and freedom of speech overrides my personal feelings. She has the right to say
That's fine.
You
can support the First Amendment, but you can also have a personal view about what she said.
My feelings are irrelevant. The Constitution is the Constitution. That's what matters.
Oh, that's fascinating. Hold on. So when it comes to chastising black Americans about their behavior, about calling white people crackers, as you say, about their moral claims, about the racist system, you can levy a judgment against black Americans for all the things they do. But when it comes to this woman saying the N-word, and this other woman endorsing it and saying that she herself uses the N-word, now all of a sudden we can only talk about the Constitution and the legal right. We can't offer any moral judgment against it. That's disingenuous. That's fascinating.
Hold on. Let's go back.
And freedom of speech overrides my personal feelings. She has the
So now it's freedom of speech.
right to say
That's fine. You can support the First.
That's because he's not one of us. Myron Gaines is a tether. The reason why he have no issue with that because he ain't one of us. He does not understand our plight, and he says the same thing about us. He uses the same word. So, I mean, I'm telling y'all, man, that's what it is. This dude is Sudanese. He's not one of us. It is what it is. Let's go.
Amendment, but you can also have a personal view about what she said.
My feelings are irrelevant. The Constitution is the Constitution. That's what matters.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Wow. The Constitution. Wow.
Hold on. So when it comes to chastising Black Americans about their behavior, about calling white people crackers, as you say, about their moral claims about the racist system, you can levy a judgment against Black.
Right. You're gonna levy a judgment for people quote unquote using crackers. But you know what I'm saying? Now saying that the N-word, that's the Constitution. I'm telling you, man. He's exposed, man. The N-word is the Constitution, but cracker, oh man, you calling them crackers. I'm telling you, man, it's always a double standard with these tethers, man, these raccoons out here. We got to drive them out of our communities, man. Telling you.
Black Americans for all the things they do. But when it comes to this woman saying the N-word, and this other woman endorsing it and saying that she herself uses the N-word, now all of a sudden we can only talk about the Constitution and the legal right. We can't offer any moral judgment against it. That's disingenuous. And it's as the only Black American up here, that's quite frustrating to hear.
If you want to be soft and get offended by that, that's your fucking problem, not mine.
What? Oh, nah. Oh, nah. Yo, Myron Gaines need his ass whooped. And see, this is what makes the internet so dangerous. This right here, bro. Whoo. Now I can look at bro's face. He would have not said that to him in his face. And that's what I'm talking about right there. That's what the race war starts on the internet, because people get so bold on the internet. I'm telling you, Myron would not have said that to bro in his face. Oh, man. And see, this is what they want the freedom to do, because look, it's already happening. The tension is already brewing. You can see it. And this is why words are powerful. Words are powerful. He doing all that damn cyber thugging, bro. These cyber thugs, man. These damn cyber thugs, they get real bold on the internet. And see, that's what I'm talking about. But let's go. Lamont Hill, let me see how he responds.
Let me ask Ricky.
We're not even.
Let me ask Ricky.
This isn't about being soft any more than when you were desperately saving these white people.
Hold on. This sensitive nature that you have is precisely why we have this problem.
It's not about being sensitive. It's about I didn't articulate. Hold on. Let me finish, Myron. Let me speak and then I'll let you respond. Myron, sure. I didn't articulate any sensitivity here.
So this is what Myron gets to doing. This is what these white supremacists, these tether supremacists do. Start hurling names. When they can't win the argument, he start hurling names, calling him soft. Because I'm going to tell you, the tethers hate foundational Black Americans. Lamont Hill is the only foundational Black American on here, on this panel. Myron Gaines, he focuses energy towards this brother. Why? Because that's who the target is. That's who they hate the most. Yeah, they resort to the name calling. He can't argue what he's talking about. Only thing he's doing is responding to you with your own logic. I'm telling you, man, that's what they do. They cyber thug and get to gaslighting.
What I said, in the same way that you levied a judgment against Black people, I'm levying one against the claims you're making. I'm no more sensitive than you were when you made your claim. I'm simply saying I disagree with you. And to immediately jump to you're being sensitive is just a distraction. I'm making an argument here. Just respond to my argument.
If you're struggling,
man,
with sleepless nights and exhausting.
Now, and my argument to respond to that is this: political correctness, liberalism, and making sure that we are politically correct and don't use certain words to offend people is precisely why we're in the situation that we're in. For decades, we've had to literally tiptoe around saying certain things around certain people, while the other group of people has been able to have impunity and be able to be as racist as they want to be, as violent as they want to be, without any type of consequence. And if you call it out, you're labeled a racist. The reality is this: Black people don't want to live around Black people. I don't want to live around a bunch of Black people. I move to neighborhoods where it's majority white because I know I'm safe. Now,
wow, that's crazy. That's crazy right there, because it's not true. There's very nice Black neighborhoods. I grew up in PG County, Maryland for a good portion of my childhood. And that was the richest black county in America. When I left DC, I was in Prince George's County. Also lived in parts of Montgomery County, Germantown area. The richest black counties, and there was no crime there. There's no crime there. As some of the places that I grew up. Of course, I spent my time in areas that wasn't so good too. But that didn't have nothing to do with the race of people. It had more to do with the condition of our people. It had more to do with the condition. It didn't have nothing to do with race. Let me explain this. If you put anybody in a hood where it's riddled with liquor stores, drugs, and there's a lack of not responsibilities, but there's a lack of opportunity, then you're going to have crime. You're going to have crime. Roland Curtis, thank you for the support, man. I appreciate it. He says Captain Raccoon Myron Games got ran out of a Twitter space by white supremacists who told his Arab ass to go back to Africa. He was humiliated that day, and he hates when he's reminded of that day. Wow, wow, wow. That's wild, man. Yeah, I'm going to take that as a mental note right there.
This uncomfortable reality that no one wants to say, so I'll say it for them. Black people commit a lot of crimes. A majority of the violent crime committed in the United States is committed by a small percentage of people, and they tend to be black men. Look, the reality is the reality. People don't want to say it, but the political correctness and being nice and not wanting to tell the truth is precisely this problem. And the reason why you're seeing all the support for Metcalf and Shiloh, etc., is because white people have not been able to step up and say what they want to say for a very long time because of what I said before, systemic, organized, where they don't take accountability for their decisions.
Let me bring in Ricky to respond. Ricky.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to say that I agree that virtue signaling went too far, that political correctness went too far.
She lukewarm.
But we're going from virtue signaling being the norm and being praised to now vice signaling being the norm and being praised. It's not just a matter of does this woman have the right to use that word? I believe that she has the right. I disagree with it. But is she now being rewarded with $500,000? Why are we rewarding people for performing vice instead?
Because they won a race war. They're rewarding it so they can funnel their money to start a race war. That's going to white supremacist groups, allegedly. Where else where it be going? She's just a front. I'm telling you, that needs to be under investigation. Why didn't that GoFundMe site, whatever that site is called, why didn't that shut down? They could be getting weapons. They can be getting drugs and syringes to drop off in the communities. They can be using it to buy pipe bombs and God knows what. They can be using it to buy vehicles to snatch our people up off the streets, to snatch our children up. Bro, that needs to be investigated. Why did this racist, bigoted woman get all this money raised and then on the media they can openly talk about it? And none of the raccoons have nothing to say about it. But every time our people raise some money in any capacity, they're scamming. It's a scam. What's going on? What are they doing? Why are they bringing money together? But they don't have nothing to say about this? Man, that's crazy.
Of virtue. This is not healthy. This is destructive to our society. This is destructive to our social fabric, to our culture, to our ability to live with other fellow Americans. It's gross to reward someone for bad behavior. It's one thing to tolerate it, to say that she has the right to do it, but she called an autistic 5-year-old the N-word. Like, I'm sorry, but I feel like we're kind of like missing the point in the actual context. You can say that it's part of this bigger meta story of Black and white America, but it actually is just like a short little clip, and you don't even know the context of it, and it's actually gross. And if we can't just say that it's gross and bad, then I don't.
Somebody said they're scared to live around white people. Listen, I would be scared to live completely isolated from my people. Not because I would be scared to live around white people, but I would be afraid of losing touch of who I actually am and connecting and relating to my people. And some people, they get out the hood and they move around, white people, and then they just not the same no more. It's like they're a shadow of who they were. It's like they almost on some get out type of stuff. And they start disrespecting their own people. Know what I'm saying? As if there is not successful black communities that have, that don't have crime. Like, listen, it's crazy, bro. It's just crazy. Let's go.
I don't really know where we are.
Well, I think it's interesting to me that Lily Gaddis, you retweeted Nick Fuentes, the white supremacist, by saying he said black people just raised $500,000 for a cold-blooded killer who stabbed a white teenager to death. So I don't want to hear one word about the Shiloh Hendricks fundraiser. Either everyone gets to be tribal or nobody does. Why would you retweet that?
Because I agree with it. Because we have to fight fire with fire. I mean, at some point, why are
nobody does?
So look, by the white supremacist logic, they got to fight fire with fire. But the moment where our people start talking that way, we are labeled a racist hate group. Do you understand that? The moment we say, all right, we're going to fight fire with fire, you are automatically labeled a racist hate group. We can't talk that way. We can't get on the internet and talk about, look, they did this to us. Let's fight fire with fire. They will shut you down in a heartbeat. But listen, they're able to do this because they're trying to establish their supremacy or reestablish their supremacy. Let's go.
Why are Jewish people allowed to be tribal? Why are black people allowed to be tribal? But as soon as white people stand up for themselves, we're labeled a racist.
Allowed to be tribal? So, do you hear how evil this is? Because people came together and supported Carmelo Anthony. They're saying we're being tribal, and you're right. We're the tribe of Judah, the Bible speaks of. And they know that. Oh, they're coming together, supporting each other. They're being tribal. They're being tribal, y'all. The blacks, they're being tribal. We have to be tribal too. Let's protect our tribe. Bro, this is what's going on. Let me do this person a favor real quick. Let's get you out of the way. All right. Back to the show.
By the way, you call people racist when you want them to stop talking about things.
No, I called you a racist because you admitted you were racist. Hang on. I called, just to be clear, I called you a racist because you openly, proudly admitted you're a racist. So it wasn't a question of exposing you or pointing my finger or trying to get this out of you. You proudly sat there, bold as brass, and said, yeah, I use the N-word all the time against black people. I'm a racist and I'm proud of it. That's what you did.
Racism is just having a preference. I prefer not to live around black people. I prefer not to live in a country where white people in our country are disproportionately attacked by black people. Where in my country, you can have an Austin Metcalf where he asks a guy to leave and he gets stabbed in the heart.
No. Austin Metcalf didn't ask him to do anything. Austin Metcalf demanded that Carmelo Anthony left, and Carmelo Anthony didn't leave. So Austin Metcalf laid hands on Carmelo, and then there was consequences. Because Carmelo wasn't going for your superiority. Carmelo did not see Austin Metcalf as a superior. He seen him as a peer, and he demanded the same respect that a peer would get. Yeah, they talking bold about it. It's our country. It's ours. And we own them. If we tell them to do something, they do it. Oh, they want to crowdfund? Oh, they want to bring money together? Well, we're going to get tribal too. How much money did they raise? 300,000? We're going to get $1 million. And we're going to give it to the most racist, bigoted person we can find. Where y'all think that $1 million is going to go? Oh, it's going to get real. People think ain't no race war coming. Let me tell y'all something. Them purge people with the damn hockey mask and the Klan suits, they're gonna be in the streets of America in the future. You just give it a few years, and then y'all gonna be like, damn, Bree, you was telling us about it. Oh, how they get the money? How they get the funding for that? Situations like this, where they sitting there crowdfunding $1 million to white supremacist groups, allegedly.
I prefer that. That's a preference. Now, what a real racist is, in my opinion, is seeing someone as less human. I'm a Christian. I believe everyone's created in God's image. So I don't see anyone as less human. But that doesn't mean I'm not allowed to have a preference and say, I don't like what happens to be coming out of this community or that community. How is that a bad thing? How is that not just a preference?
You're a Christian, but Jesus Christ was black. The one you call Jesus Christ was a black man. Skin of bronze and hair of wool. So how can you be a Christian when Christ was black? How could you be a follower of Christ if you don't like black, if you don't have a preference for black people, particularly black men? That means you don't follow Christ.
Because you've literally made black people sound lesser humans. You don't want to live around them. You want to use the N word in relation to them, a word that you know causes that community unbelievable offense.
And let me explain something. Black people, we break the rules. We're not held to their language barriers. We took the N word and we made it ours. Straight up, because that's what we do. We the innovators. We took it and we took the pain out of it. You dig? My nigga Bree knew the time. Niger is in the Bible. We took our word back, actually. We took it back. We turned it into a term of endearment. Yo, my nigga Bree knew the time. But y'all racist, redneck, prejudice folks, you can't say it. You can't say it. But they chopping at the bit. They chopping at the bit to get online and call us N-words. Yeah, we straight confiscated that. We confiscated that. Let's go.
Is that my fault? If they have bad behavior, if they want to act in a certain way, if I have to cross the street and
bad behavior, how about that guy who shot up that school in Florida? Was that good behavior? You know, the guy that took his mother's gun. His name was Phoenix something, some crazy ass name. Took his mother's gun, was all in the sheriff's office. His mother was a police officer. And went up there to that school and offed all those people. Was that good behavior or bad behavior? Let's go.
And be afraid that maybe because of the crime statistics that are very real, by the way, is that my fault or is that their fault for having bad behavior?
That's mind-boggling to me for multiple reasons. I mean, we're talking about bad behavior. You know, we've never lynched you, we've never enslaved you, we've never done any of the deep-seated structural forms of injustice to white people that white people have done to black people, and yet to claim some kind of moral superiority in the midst of, and again, in the context of a conversation where a white woman is calling a 5-year-old autistic child the N-word, and we're talking about black people's bad behavior. This is
a 5-year-old autistic child. They don't have no remorse.
Absurd. And the idea of fighting fire with fire, again, is a dishonest argument. Just to take us back to the point here, the people who are supporting Carmelo Anthony's campaign,
and that is true. Staying Stoic, Yeshua never called himself a Christian. They actually used the term Christian to, you know, insult us. There's no religion called Christianity in the Bible, actually. We're just followers of Christ. But anyway, let's go.
Campaign believe that he was wrongfully charged and they're trying to get him legal defense. The people who are defending this woman are saying, yes, we know you called the 5-year-old autistic black child the N-word, and we want more of it. We approve of it. We support it. These are not the same.
Yeah, they're funding it so they can see more of it. So more white people can be incentivized to go on racist tangents publicly. People seeing that, oh, that's how you get to the bag. You just go around calling young autistic black children all kind of obscenities and slurs, and we're going to have racist groups that's going to support us. I'm telling you.
Thing, and it's bonkers to me that we couldn't all stand and say, hey, it is wrong to call a 5-year-old autistic black child the N-word. I mean, Myron, let me just ask you that question. I think this is a yes or no question. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do you think the woman was wrong to do what she did to that child in that park?
I don't approve of that. But what I will say is that it's very important to understand.
It's a yes or no question. You don't approve of it, but you approve of money being raised. Let's go.
The entire context of what led us to this position, because again, Metcalf and Hendricks is a microcosm of a much larger problem. Earlier, we were talking about tribalism when you were mentioning Nick Fuentes' tweet. Here's the thing. Black people could be as tribal as they want to be. You have people like Tariq Nasheed, Dr. Umar Johnson running around about black power and marry black women and keep it in the hood and all this other stuff. But if white people assemble and say, you know what, white power, we need to keep our nation white, they're immediately ostracized and labeled as supremacists, and they get banned off every single platform. I find that interesting. And matter of fact,
I don't know any people running around saying keep their people white and getting banned for it. Let's continue.
You went ahead
the same thing.
No.
And here's the thing. Here's the understanding of DNA. If you're a man, whoever you impregnate, whatever woman you deal with, it is the seed of the father. It's the seed of the father. Regardless of what. Black men, you could deal with any kind of woman you want. That child is still black. White men, you could deal with any kind of woman you want. That child would be white. It's simple as that, right? Man carry the seed, man carry the bloodline. Anyway, let's go.
No, actually, it is the same thing. Because here's the problem with black people.
No, it's not.
Hold on, let me finish this. Black people practice the very racism they cry about. You guys can gather together and say Black Lives Matter, Black Power, but if white people get together and say white power, gather together, they're considered white supremacists and they get banned off every single platform. Why is that Jared Taylor and Nick Fuentes are banned off every platform for practicing white nationalism, but black people are allowed to stand every single platform getting interviews on a Breakfast Club? Explain that to me. There's a two-tier situation here where black people are able to benefit off of being racist while whites are not. And what we're dealing with right now.
And then, he just threw Tariq Nasheed. Myron is a lame. He's a lame, right? He's threatened by foundational black Americans, and the whole world seems to be. Now, he just threw Tariq Nasheed in the same bubble as Umar Johnson, and he made a blanket statement. Now, first of all, foremost, Tariq Nasheed is specifically honing in on the plight of foundational black Americans, right? What you have with Umar Johnson, he's more so speaking about African culture. It's a difference. So this dude is just throwing up any name that he believes is a pro-black for their people. And I don't know no FBA hollering no damn black power. Foundational Black Americans is not even an organization. We're just simply saying that we were here and we are expressing our plight and we're standing in unison with certain situations. Right? That's all it is. It's not a group. It's not a militia. It's not none of that. We're just foundational Black Americans. We were here. It's simple as that. Now, biblically, we are the children of Israel that the Bible speaks of. Biblically, we're Israelites. Most of us that are products of the transatlantic slave trade are the tribe of Judah that the Bible speaks of. But we've been cursed to be called bywords. But it's better that we stake claim to being the foundation of America opposed to being African Americans, because we're not from Africa. We're not Africans. Umar Johnson is into Pan-Africanism. But anyway, let's go.
now in America is literally a backlash to this black supremacy has been able to run around unchecked for a long time, and no one has the balls to call it out. Here's the other thing I want to say. Everyone's flipping out over Shiloh Hendricks is saying the N-word.
Can I respond to the point you just made, though?
No, hold on. Nobody flipped out like this when the United States was getting destroyed in 2020 because of black protests destroying every liberal city in America. So I don't want to hear it about, she made $100,000 because she said the N-word. Who cares? They destroyed billions of dollars of structure because someone got killed who was a criminal. That's the problem in America. You guys get a privilege that no one else gets to enjoy. You could be racist.
Okay.
And the anarchists did that. Black folks ain't do that. Antifa did that. George Soros' government-funded chaos did that. Let's go.
All right, I have to hang on. I've got to hold it there. We've got another guest joining us. Mark, I'll come back to you to respond to that in a moment. But we've been joined now by Jacob Wells. He's the Christian founder of the Give, Send, Go donation site that both campaigns have been hosted on. Thank you very much indeed for joining me, Mr. Wells. First of all, your reaction to what seems to me to be a blatant hijacking of both of these.
That's a fact. Akuma says there was brothers in D.C. whipping on them fools for trying to destroy D.C. I'm telling you, those people that were doing that were wearing masks. Those was little white Antifa antagonizers that was doing all that damage. They were burning buildings down and all of that. No, our people wasn't doing that. Only thing our people was doing was stealing Jordans, bro. Let's keep it a buck. You know I'm gonna keep it a buck. The only thing our people was doing was running up, stealing designer clothes, bro. That's it. And getting Auntie and them's Medicaid, going to get the prescriptions. They was going to the CVS and they was getting them prescription pills because some of them people was jugging them joints. And then you had people running up and designer taking chains and taking shoes and clothes, bro. That happened. They just took advantage of the chaos. But nobody in the hood was burning down mom and pop stores, bro. Stop playing. Stop playing with my people, bro. We got issues just like everybody else, but my people wasn't out here burning down mom and pop stores, black-owned businesses and all that. No, that was some Antifa people. Yeah, our people definitely was running up, grabbing them clothes, though. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Let's go. Now, this guy here is the founder of Give, Send, Go. And he looked like a skinhead reptilian. The founder of Give, Send, Go, he looked like one of them people, bro. He looked like one of them people, straight up. He looked like he from Elon Musk's tribe. But anyway, this guy here is going to explain to us why this racist was able to fundraise all this money. You can't tell me he don't look like he can play Satan. Respectfully. Respectfully. That dude gives me the creeps off the break, man. I didn't even hear what he got to say, and we already got the creeps over here. Heebie-jeebies. Anyway, let's go.
Fundraising host sites for different reasons, but definitely been hijacked by people for racist motivation.
No, I think that's completely correct, Piers. I do think that there was an element here that did hijack, that came at this and really became a racist, tribalist element between the two campaigns. Independently of themselves, I think that they would have existed on our platform in a whole different manner, but because of the narratives around them and the proximity to each other, they created a life of their own. And
man, that's BS. Give, Send, Go know exactly what's going on. You might just be a spokesman or something. Y'all know what's happening. This didn't happen organically. Look, let me explain something. None of this funding for this race war is happening organically. None of it. This is retaliatory on all ends. They're retaliating because Carmelo Anthony was able to raise that money. Let's go.
And it is unfortunate. It's sad to see because as a Christian myself, what I respect about humanity and the image of God on us. I believe that we're all valuable. I believe that people have dignity and worth, and we want to see that upheld for people, even in difficult moments. That's why our platform exists, is to share hope with people.
No, your platform need to be shut down. If I sit up here and do a fundraiser on Go Send Go, whatever that joint called, if I was to do that right now for a land development initiative, and listen, y'all not even gonna spread that. Y'all not gonna spread that in the algorithm. Y'all not gonna put that out there. No, y'all. I personally believe that they see what's trending and they prioritize it. You can't tell me that these platforms don't prioritize certain people. I don't believe that. They prioritize it. Allegedly, all allegedly. Yeah, creating diversions. That's what it is. Let's go.
And it's been a difficult week, several weeks of just navigating the complexity of these situations as a platform.
Studies show that strength training burns more fat than cardio.
You're doing too much explaining, so I know they prioritized it. Why did he have to get on here and do damage control if they wasn't? Let's go.
This is a woman on camera repeatedly using the N.
He's on here to do damage control, y'all. He knows they prioritize that. Let's go.
To Shiloh Hendricks, it seems to me pretty open and shut. This is a woman on camera repeatedly using the N-word. First of all, with a 5-year-old autistic child, it seems. Then an adult who's filming her, doesn't care, is blatantly racist. Why should someone like that be allowed to raise any money on your site if, as you say, you are driven by a Christian purpose?
Well, that's a fascinating question. I would almost flip it around. It's like,
wow, somebody put it out there off break. Give Go pumped her donation in their algorithm. For Carmelo, you need to seek the donation link out. Wow. And after Carmelo's got shut down, you would have thought hers got shut down. Let's go.
Like if we tried to create litmus tests for everybody to come onto a platform to use it, I pretty much could guarantee nobody would pass the litmus test, because the reality of humanity is that we're broken. This is the whole principle of Jesus in the first place, says, is that we needed a savior, and that's what he came for.
Man, you don't believe in... Man, let me stop, yo.
Just to be clear.
He bringing up Jesus, bro. He don't believe in black Jesus. And stop, man. Babylon, for real, Babylon's on fire, bro. I'm telling you, bro. This is crazy.
Down the road.
Hang on, just to be clear. So that's interesting what you just said. So you would let anybody onto your platform to raise money for anything? Is that your position?
No, the position is that there are laws that define what is legal and what isn't legal. And we adhere to the laws as the framework for what is and isn't allowed.
But inciting racial hatred is a crime, right?
Exactly. Inciting racial hatred is a crime, right? Look, he looked dumbfounded. Look at that look. He got the smack look. Let's go.
Inciting racial hatred is a crime?
Yeah.
Where?
Damn. Inciting hateful racism is a crime where? And this is the guy of Go Send Go. Now, remind you, Carmelo's was taken down, y'all. And this is why America has to pay. This is why the Most High had to judge this place. Y'all do the children of the light. Y'all do God's chosen people dirty. So it's not racist when it's them. It's not against the law or the rules when it's them. That's the look he got. Somebody said it. Are you white? Why are you questioning me? I'm telling you, bro.
You don't think it's a crime?
In the U.S.?
Yeah, it is.
I've never seen that as a law on the books, but
it is.
That was part of the reason.
It's not a law on the books. It's not a law in the books that you can't fundraise to get somebody some bail money. Y'all made it a law. Once y'all seen Carmelo Anthony got that money, y'all made it a law. It wasn't a law until Go Send Go changed it. He definitely wasn't ready for that question. He looked like he is in a blind stupor right now. Yo, Piers asked the right questions on this one. Yo, this interview it just reveals everything you need to know right now about this race war that's coming. This reveals it all. Go Send Go is racist. That's why if we're going to do some fundraising for our people, we need to do it in person. None of these crowdfunding sites, none of that. We got to pull up and do our own fundraisers. Because these people more than likely be stealing donations and everything. I don't trust them. At this point, I don't trust them.
I'm not even American, and I know it's a law on the books. You're not allowed to incite racial hatred or violence against ethnic groups based on their ethnicity. What could be a more glaring example than someone on camera calling black people the N-word?
Violence and words are two different things, and we do make a distinction of that in America. They are very clearly different things. I don't know of any law. I'd be happy for you to inform me with what that law is, because I don't know everything. I'm happy to admit that. But as has already been mentioned on the show earlier, there are needs that exist outside of the reality of that moment for Shiloh. I don't condone the behavior. Obviously, we didn't see the actual behavior that was accused in the moment. What we saw was the aftermath of a kind of baited moment.
But she carries on using the N-word to a black person with impunity.
What does he mean, a baited moment? Is he trying to say that the 5-year-old autistic child baited her into calling him N-words? Like, what are we talking about?
That's a racist.
Yeah, well, she might have some racial elements. I don't know. I don't know Shiloh
some
personally.
Racial elements. She uses the N-word repeatedly to a black man, and she doesn't deny having just used it to a 5-year-old black child. I'm not sure what more evidence you need that this person's a racist. And my question for you is simply, where is that line for you? You say it's the law,
well,
but if somebody is literally raising hundreds of thousands of dollars to support them because they were blatantly racist, I'm just curious how that fits with the Christian ethos of what your site's supposed to be about.
Well, it fits actually very well, because we can, like I started to say, we don't operate on a litmus test of your past behaviors as far as the services that you get to provide. The moment.
So, but that's a double standard, because y'all changed the rules on the books for Carmelo Anthony based on what was going on in his scenario, based on the fact that y'all believe that he murdered a white child at a pep rally. Based on that, y'all took his GoFundMe down. But when it comes to and y'all were incorrect, he wasn't proven guilty of that. You're innocent until proven guilty. But you have this woman who is openly being racist. Y'all's platform allowed her to raise $700,000, and y'all didn't think that this was going to fuel some type of race war? And they send Voldemort, aka the reptilian stepchild, on here to try to mansplain it away? Are you kidding me? This is loaded with hypocrisy, double standards, and ideological subversion. You send this damn half-breed alien up here to try to cause more confusion. No, y'all shut down Carmelo Anthony's GoFundMe, but y'all kept up this racist woman who y'all put in y'all's algorithm, allegedly, so y'all can fund a race war, because y'all in on it too. Imagine that the crowdfunding sites are being used to funnel a damn race war. Would y'all think that this would ever be happening? Crazy.
That you start walking down the narrative that we're not going to provide you electricity, water, because we don't like you. The the structural elements, the movement of money, which is a basic element to society.
So let me just ask you this. So if someone was being blatantly anti-Semitic, for example, right, would you allow them to raise money on your platform?
Hell no, they taking that down. You can't talk about them people because they stand together. And if they even feel like they offended, they wiping you out. You can't do that with them. So whatever he's about to say is about to probably be a lie. Because you know, if those you wish people, you know, if they offended, they'll shut your whole they'll shut the whole damn thing down. Y'all raise up money going against them. And he knows that. Let somebody come on, let Kanye West do a GoFundMe. Yo, let Ye get on the Go Send Go right now and raise $1 million for some anti-Semitic speech that he does. Go Send Go would be gone. It'd be gone, sent and gone. Go Give Send Go. It'd be gone, sent and gone.
To defend themselves over their anti-Semitism.
We sit in a very interesting position as a platform in trying to navigate the complexities of these issues.
Yeah, so what's the answer, though? What's the answer?
You can say things. Well, I'll say historically, we've stood on that principle of saying we're going to allow things that we disagree with.
Okay.
And we've allowed things that we completely disagree with.
Do you allow people to do pro-abortion? Do you allow pro-abortion fundraising?
Actually, there's two caveats to.
He's over there tap dancing.
To what Give Send Go has carved out, and one of them is we.
You know why they had to have the founder on here to start explaining himself? Because now they're being put on blast right now. I would say this: our people need to stop using these. They're being put on blast right now because once you started changing rules for Carmelo Anthony, now you have to explain what your regulations are. Now you have to have somebody come to the public and they have to explain what are y'all's rules exactly. Because it seemed like they can change it as they go. That's what it seemed like. It seems real race specific here.
It's broken into two pieces, but it's the protection of children. So we say we're going to protect children because they don't have a voice. So we're not going to allow fundraising for abortions on Give Send Go, and we're not going to allow fundraising for the transition of children.
Okay, but what about a 5-year-old child being? What about a 5-year-old black child being called the N-word?
What about that?
We don't care, is what he's saying. What about it? We don't care. I got another timestamp. He said, what about that? We don't care about 5-year-old black children. 5-year-old autistic black children. Let me see here. Let's go. I got a timestamp for you all. You ain't gonna get no answer out of him. So we're gonna go to the panel's final thoughts. Let's see what happens. Because listen, ladies and gentlemen, the show is about to get real. It's going to get real. These final thoughts is crazy. Just peep the game, y'all.
Let's go back to the panel there. I mean, Ricky, it seemed to me a lot of inconsistencies in Mr. Wells's position, not least the donning of the Christian hat when it suits them, but then removing it when it doesn't.
You know, I think it's definitely tough to make the call here and there and where to censor. I err on the side of not censoring as much as possible, but I agree with you that the selectivity of having issues with abortion, but not with these campaigns is certainly a problem. But I also want to go back to our point before too and make the point that I hate this argument that because some people were tribal, we should be tribal too. And shouldn't we want to live in a society where we say tribalism is bad in general and negative in general, and so therefore we should be erring towards individuals?
No, we should be tribal. That's right. Brothers, you should be practicing polygyny out here. Get your tribe. You should be with your own people. The scriptures already prophesied that everybody would start veering off to their own people. No, you're going to have to be tribal because being tribal is survival. In this pending race war, actually you're in the race war now, but being tribal is vital. Being tribal is survival. So look, they could be tribal all they want. We just gotta be tribal. Tribalism is beautiful. Let's go.
Individualism and not fighting tribalism with more tribalism. I think that's a net negative.
I agree. Myron, your last words on this.
Okay. Oh, because I never got to respond to Myron's other.
The thing with tribalism, it's a natural human instinct. Like, we are literally designed to want to be in communities and want to be a part of a set of community because it ensures our survival. It's been.
I agree with that. And you know what? Go your ass to your tribe. We can't be mad at Myron for that because he wants to live amongst his tribe. Go to your tribe. Listen, the only issue I have with tethers is they always speaking on our issues, and they're not qualified to speak on our issues. Go be with your people. Everybody want to speak on the issues of foundational Black Americans. Everybody want to speak on the issues of us Judites, of us melanated brothers from the diaspora. Everybody want to speak on it. But if you're not qualified, you're not qualified. If you hate us so much, then go be with your people and shut up. As simple as that. Go be with your tribe. Just like you got these people who come from overseas, from various places, and they got a lot to say about our plight over here in America and how we haven't done anything. Y'all haven't built nothing in America, even though we built the whole country. But if you ask them what has been done in their homeland, in their country, where they're from, a lot of the times it's nothing going on over there. That's why they're in America, benefiting off of our hard slave labor. You're benefiting off the work we did. We don't have no issues with y'all being tribal. Go with your own kind and leave us alone. Let's go.
In that way since the beginning of time. So the thing is that people are typically going to align with people that share similar features, and that's why we have the tribe.
And let me make this clear. And if you one of us, if you adhere to our philosophies and our stances on things, and you are from another race, then you can rock with us. That's where I stand with this. If you from another race and you rock with our people and you want to sojourn with us, you are welcome. Let's go.
Tribalism we have going on right now. So the problem is it's not going to go anywhere. I think the problem is that we've had this penting up for literally decades, and this has been a response to it. You have people that are coming out and supporting someone who you guys might deem as a terrible racist, but I think it's also very important to understand how we got here, because if we're going to look at the smaller problem, we can't look at the bigger problem. And it's what I said before, unchecked.
Yo, Lamont Hill looked disgusted, bro. I know this was a tough one, man.
Systemic.
All right, Mark Lamont Hill, your last words on this.
This repeated use of the word, I think, first of all, I want to just register that as offensive, particularly as someone who doesn't identify as a member of that community and who is not, right? I think that's incredibly
I'm the definition of African-American. I'm the definition of African-American.
What? You ain't no damn African-American, boy. You better get your ass up out of here. Nah, ain't no way. My boy Tristan said, look, if it does pop off, he gonna be supporting, no doubt. Shout out to Tristan, man. Man, listen, bro. He ain't just do that. Real 80s OG says, this stream got them tether clowns going crazy. I believe it. I know that they triggered. He said, look, listen, this dude, Myron Lames, just said, he the definition of African American. Now we know damn well you ain't no African American, but cut it out, man. Stop it, man. No, for real, stop it, man. Get you some help. And that's the thing about these tethers, man. They hate us, but they want to be us. That's the part that really infuriates us about them, right? They hate us, but it's like, oh, I want to be them. I think y'all got some kind of inferiority complex, man. It's really a mental disorder. Y'all really sick in the head. You need to be proud of who you are. Be proud of who you are. Be proud of your background, your ethnicity. Just be proud of it. They hate us because they can't be us. Black men in America are the most desired men in the world. What are you talking about? Every woman. Listen, let me tell you something. The lady, the fourth lady, the racist, on the low, she probably loved black men. That's how crazy it is. She would be one of them. Look, she would be one of them people on the field back in slavery that shimmy her ass down the damn house. She would shimmy on down. She would climb out the window, shimmy on down, and go right to the damn. Go to the barn where Kunta is sleeping. Oh, y'all not ready for that. Let me help y'all to understand something. Black men in America are the most hated men for a reason. It's insane, man. It's insane.
And troublesome, and to as a Sudanese American or an outsider.
That's right. You a Sudan. That's right. Lamont called it out. Hey, Lamont called it out. Now, I ain't telling you brothers to ever deal with no racist, bigoted woman like that. Let me just be clear. Because she would have that slave lined up. She'll force you to do it. She'll force Kunta to do it. If you don't do it, Kunta, I'm going to tell Master you tried to grape me. So you stand far away from her. You get your crucifixes and ward off them damn vampires. Women like that, you ward them off. But Lamont called him out and said, man, you ain't no damn, you an outsider. You Sudanese. Be who you going to be. And the tethers hate when you call them out. Oh, this is getting good. Oh, this is getting good. This is pure entertainment gold. Look. Yeah, you got to learn from Shay Shay. Learn from Shannon Sharp. And we hope our brother Shannon Sharp bounce back. He'll bounce back. He's successful, man. Shannon Sharp will be all right. Shannon going to be all right. But you got to learn from Shannon Sharp. Now, hold on. Let's go.
Who's using African American in a very technical term, the same way that Elon Musk is an African American. I think it is a bit disingenuous. But the bigger issue here, I think, is
Myron didn't like that. He called him out for who he is. They want to be us. See, they don't have no power if they can't pose as us. They have to be able to pose as us.
Is that this idea of equating of one side to the other side often loses track of this issue of power. To use his example, when Black people stand up and say, "Hey, let's build our own stuff. Hey, let's have a Black power movement," that is not the same as a white power. I'll let you speak uninterrupted. Let me finish, please, my Sudanese brother. So when a Black person says,
I'll let you speak, my Sudanese brother. That's right. Hey, Lamont Hill, he did his thing. Lamont Hill did what he needed to do.
Let's preserve our culture. I have no problem with Italians or Irish people or anyone else saying let's preserve our culture. But when we don't talk about ethnicity, but actual race, and when white people say let's preserve whiteness, it's an exclusionary practice. It's about preserving laws and practices and tactics that do harm to other people. A Black power movement was about opening stores and building businesses. A white power movement was a white power. That's the giga. A white power movement was about something very, 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 very different. A white power movement included lynchings and included Ku Klux Klan, etc.
Exactly. A white empowerment movement included, having picnics, using our babies as gator bait. A white empowerment movement included, actually eating our people. We talking about they would have postcards on Sunday, having postcards, with picnics, watching us swing from trees while they sitting there, having lunch. That was their empowerment movement. Actual oppression, lynchings. And if you want to take it to biblical days, it was crucifixions, castrations as well during slavery. Let's go.
So let's not pretend that these are opposite sides of the same coin. When white people say, let's save our country, and even using language of our country, when black people built this thing, when you say that, you're talking about forcing people out of the country. You're talking about laws that discriminate. You're talking about doing harm to people. Let's not pretend these are the same thing, just like these GoFundMe campaigns are not the same thing. I'm okay if everybody gets out of the GoFundMe industrial complex. I'd love that. But let's not pretend that supporting someone for a fair trial is the same thing as supporting a grown white woman berating and calling the N-word to a 5-year-old autistic black child. And the fact that everyone in here can't be unanimous in condemning that says exactly how they're not the same.
I totally agree. I'm going to go to Lily Gaddis and just ask you one more time. I mean, you've been so unashamedly proud of being a racist today, proud of using the N-word whenever you feel like it. You've had a bit of time to think about this. Is that how you want people to leave this panel debate, with thinking of you as a disgusting racist?
Man, she ain't got no remorse. Look, she got her cross on her neck. Both of these women have crosses on their necks. Listen, I'm going to tell y'all right now, y'all got to watch out for them strong right-wing Christians. They be some of the most bigoted, racist people, because y'all understand, they was doing these lynchings on Sunday. On Sunday. Right after Sunday school, there's a lynching. And they believed that they were serving Jesus. So look, that's right. They got them demonic. She got that demonic look in the eye. You think she got any type of remorse? No. She definitely standing 10 toes down. But if it's a brother standing 10 toes down on how he looks at how he views the world, you're gonna get all kind of tags slapped on him and everything.
I don't really care what people think about me. As long as you care about what people think about you, you have no power and you lose your country. What I care about is freedom of speech. And if you're not allowed to say the most offensive things in this country, you do not have freedom of speech. I don't care what anybody says. So that's the main crux of this situation. That's what I care about with this situation. It is, we have lived for far too long in a country where you can have your life destroyed. And people say, oh, she doesn't need this money. Her life's destroyed, by the way. She'll never be.
Her life is destroyed. What? She just got $700,000 damn dollars. How the hell her life destroyed? That woman is filthy rich now. Yeah, she makes absolutely no sense. So I guess now this woman's life is destroyed too, because people looking at you like a racist. No, you're still going to keep a platform. You're still going to have your following.
Be able to get another job. She's got children to have to support. And I don't want to live in a country where you can say an inappropriate, rude thing, which, by the way, black people can say things to white people all the time and they never get canceled. There's no backlashing about this. I want to live in a country where people.
Man, look at Lamar. He can't. It's difficult to keep a game face, man, with this type of rhetoric being spewed, man. I get it.
People are allowed to say what they want unashamedly. And you will
well, go
not
on, then
have
say it. Say
you
the
will
M-
not have
go on, say
speech.
go on. Say the M word. Go on.
Say it.
No.
Hang on.
Invite.
No.
Yo, this is crazy, bro. I can't believe Piers Morgan said go ahead and say it. Yo, what is happening here? Yo. No, man. Yo, look at her face. She like, should I? She's like, that would be a viral moment. See, even Pierce just exposed himself. Even Pierce just exposed himself. Like, why would you? Go ahead, say it now. Come on, let's hear it. You know what this is about? They're trying to normalize it so white folks can say this on the internet. Knowing that, look, and you see how Lamar Hill got upset? That's what it would do to all black Americans. That's why I'm telling y'all, don't let that get y'all under y'all skin. If y'all still start getting on YouTube and World Star and y'all start hearing white people calling us N-words, yo, don't let it go to your heart, bro, because it might come to that. Just take a mental note that they've been doing that the whole time and they couldn't hide it no more. Right? Like Pierce want those ratings, man. Look, let's go.
By the way, she'll never be able to get another job. She's got children to have to support. And I don't want to live in a country where you can say an inappropriate, rude thing, which, by the way, Black people can say things to white people all the time and they never get canceled. There's no backlashing about this. I want to live in a country where people are allowed to say what they want unashamedly. And you will
Well, go
not
on then,
have
say it.
Yes, that's what she want to say it. She want to call Lamont Hill one right now.
Say
You
the
will
M-
not have
Go on,
free
say
speech.
go on. Say the M word. Go on.
No.
Hang on.
Invite. No.
No.
I don't want you to invite this woman to say a racially harmful term in front of me because I'm the only on here. So if she says,
He said, "I'm the only." That's right. He said, "I'm the only." He said, "I'm the only nigga on here." That's right. Now he ain't call himself a nigger. He said he the only nigga on here. It's a difference. It's a difference, bro. I'm telling y'all, it's a difference, man. If you not listen, a lot of tethers can't understand this, man. A lot of tethers don't. A lot of tethers don't get it. But yo, this is what just infuriated him because he just invited that, and Myron laughing too because they don't get it. Someone say, "Well, that's hypocritical. Why can we say it and they can't?" You don't understand us. You don't understand foundational Black Americans. Yes, we can say it. You can't. I mean, you can. It ain't gonna bother me personally. Personally, I don't care. You got to come up with something more creative. But I know my people. Yeah, this is strong provocation. That's right. She said people like her bring that strong provocation. Don't let it trigger you like it's going me. Look, hey, Sister Pisces Hayes says, I'm triggered. Just don't let it trigger y'all. Do as I say, not as I do. Like don't let it trigger y'all because I'm triggered. And look, everybody else getting a kick out of it. She's smiling because that's what the goal is, to get us. The goal is to get us to rage out. I'm going to tell y'all, this race war, they want us to be the ones who are the aggressors so they can bring in their militaries, so they can bring in a police force. And eventually with these kind of platforms, these kind of shows, eventually people going to start popping off. Eventually people going to start popping off, bro. Listen, Sun Tzu, the Art of War, says never let your enemies dictate the terms of war. Never let your enemies dictate the terms of war. I'm not finna let my enemies dictate what infuriates me. You lost already. When they can get you in your emotions, you already lost. All I do is take a mental note, like, oh, that's how you feel? Okay. Let me keep an eye out on you. That's all I do, keep a mental note. But they want us to crash out. Let me see. Tristan says, I don't think they realize what's in the hood, though. LOL. That part. Yeah. Pisces said, I got to use that. Come with something more creative. Facts. Y'all been using that term for a minute. Now, everybody ain't going to see it like me. Everybody not going to see it like me. There's going to be some people out there, and they're going to slap you right in your mouth. Some people out there, they may even do worse. It's a sensitive word. It's very sensitive.
I'm the victim of it. So please don't invite her for ratings to call me the N-word, because that's basically what it's going to
For ratings, yep.
be. There's a bunch of white people up here. You and one Uncle Tom on the left here.
That's right.
To ask her to say the N-word while I'm here is ridiculous. You would not sit here with a Jewish.
He's showing a gun? Bruh. No. Bro, this is out of pocket. This is crazy. He's holding a gun towards this man's head, bro. No, man. No, man. No, man. And it has the N word on it. It's blurred out. He's holding a gun with the N word on it, y'all. Wow. I mean, this right here, if this ain't the funding of a race war, they using the tethers first. Trying to get us to rage out. Even Pierce was in on it, bro. Even Piers Morgan was in on it at the end. Go ahead and say it was all set up. He probably reading off a teleprompter, bro. All his questions are probably right there in front of him, bro. All of this was set up. And now look, this is showing you what they really want for foundational Black Americans, man. This is what they really want. They want to put a gun to our heads and get rid of us. Wow. They want to see us. They want to see us in a box. They want to see us in a box. Now, this is hatred. How is this not hatred? How is this? He literally is holding up a play gun. Bruh. And see, that's what it is. They get you to react. You go out there, they can put you in a box. They get you to react. And see, this is all, I'm telling you right now, this is all foreshadowing what they got planned. This is all foreshadowing what they got planned. Let's get the children of Israel. Let's get the tribe of Yehuda. Let's get them riled up. Let's get them there in their emotions. Let's do things that's going to upset them. You're going to start seeing more news briefs of Black men going through it. Let's get it so on social media, we can just holler obscenities to them. And then when they start attacking, when we start dictating the terms of war and we can draw them out, boom, boom. That's what they got planned. Wow. This is crazy.
Main crux of this situation. That's what I care about with this situation. It is, we have lived for far too long in a country where you can have your life destroyed, and people say, oh, she doesn't need this money. Her life's destroyed, by the way. She'll never be able to get another job. She's got children to have to support. And I don't want to live in a country where you can say an inappropriate, rude thing, which, by the way, Black people can say things to white people all the time and they never get canceled. There's no backlashing about this. I want to live in a country where people are allowed to say what they want unashamedly, and you will
go
not
on then,
have
say
free,
it. Say
you
the
will
M.
not have
Go on,
free
say.
speech.
Go on, say the M word. Go on.
No.
Hang on.
Don't invite. No.
No.
I don't want you to invite this woman to say a racially harmful term in front of me, because I'm the only on here. So if she says it, I'm the victim of it. So please don't invite her for ratings to call me the N-word, because that's basically what it's going to be. There's a bunch of white people up here. You and one Uncle Tom on the left here, and to ask her to say the N-word while I'm here is ridiculous. You would not sit here with a Jewish person and say, please use a Jewish slur in front of this Jewish. It's ridiculous. I understand.
He definitely wouldn't have did that.
You don't have any bad intent, Piers. I understand what you're trying to do, but we
you know
already
what,
know.
He does have bad intent. I mean, that devil is crafty. That's why Kanye was up there calling him boy and all of that. I mean, that's some subtle, that's some subtle, crafty, slimy, snakish-ish that Piers Morgan's just did for real. That's very, very disrespectful. Very disrespectful.
I hear you.
And I don't want to invite a racial harm to me.
I hear you, and I accept that.
And then Piers ain't have nothing to say about his guest holding a gun up to him. Wow. So we know what the agenda is. We know what the agenda is. Yeah, Piers is an instigator. He's an instigator. And this is the war. They want to take our men out by force, but they want us to get out of character. They're trying to draw us into the race war. And that's why I did this video. I don't want you brothers to fight the war that way. Because the war is already here. They're already funding the war. They're already funding the war using crowdfunding. But this is not the way you fight the war. You don't lash out this way. You fight the war by doing what? Separating yourselves. You fight the war by coming out from among her, my people. You fight the war by putting your resources together. You fight the war by getting on some land together, showing the world that you can live amongst each other. You fight the war by supporting one another. You fight the war by standing by each other no matter what, as long as the general consensus is that we're on the side of whatever political plight that we have at the moment. You got to stand with your people no matter what, because that's what they're going to do. They're going to stand with their people no matter what. And you got to stand with yours. People can say about what they want about the guy that crashed out and ran over the cop, but guess what? When Nat Turner did the slave revolt, he didn't just murk his slave master. He didn't just murk his slave master. Nah. He went on a whole revolt and he murked plenty of them. But when we talk about Nat Turner today, we applaud him. So you can say what you want, but in war, it gets messy. When gangs are going to war with each other, they don't just murk the people who did their family wrong. No, that ain't what they do. They go out there and whoever they can catch from the rival gang. That's war. I'm not saying that I like it. I'm not saying that I applaud it. I'm not saying that it's a good thing. But guess what? That's warfare. Ain't nothing you can do to stop that. There's going to be casualties in a war. But this war starts off on social media. It starts off psychologically. Yeah, Mr. Rodney, he did what he did, you know. It is what it is. Like I said, it's unfortunate that cop lost his life, but it's also unfortunate that his son lost his life unlawfully. His son was a casualty in a war, and so was the cop. And right now it's psychological, but this is becoming physical. When you see Myron Gaines do a gesture like that, he knows it's going to become physical. And it's nothing more than they will want but to put black men down in the ground. Now, brothers and sisters, this was a powerful one, man. This is one of those broadcasts that's going to have a lot of replay value. Of course, some people are not ready for this type of strong, commentary. It could be heavy somewhat because it's a lot to take in, right? But when you evaluate what is being said here, you'll grow a greater understanding on what it's like to be a nobleman and a countryman, a nationman. And you'll begin to pretty much protect yourself and your family and walk accordingly, understanding that this is a war and you can't let anything trigger you in war. Now, listen, I love each and every one of y'all, man. Support the work. Go to nubreedglobaltruth.com, y'all. Get some of the merchandise over there. Support Hebrew Care. Support all of the clothing that's over there. There's new clothing coming as well. And listen, brothers and sisters, also support me on Cashapp, Nubreed Global Truth 77. You know what I'm saying? Your contributions is highly appreciated. Support your own interests. If I'm putting out the type of material you like, show me that you appreciate it so I can continue going with the mission. Support this mission. And also, man, follow me on X. Everybody follow me on X so y'all can get these video updates in case you're not getting notifications. If you follow me on X, you guaranteed to get it there because a lot of the video links, I'm already sharing it there before I'm sharing it here. So if you end up missing anything, you got it because you follow me on X. Look, my X tag is Nubreed Global. Thank each and every one of y'all for showing up. I want y'all to have a blessed one. Hold on, I had some starred comments. I think I read them all. I believe I read them all. I did read them all. Okay, cool. And if y'all send cash apps, I'm going to start reading those off as well, all right? So when I'm doing these streams, podcast form, and y'all sending cash apps, I will shout y'all out and read them off from here on out. All right, but thank each and every one of y'all, man. Y'all be blessed out there. Shalom and peace.